And now, it's The Law Show on CL 650. A comprehensive look at everything you need to know about the law.
Love and marriage go together like a horse and carriage.
Which comes first, the horse or the carriage?
It depends these days.
Depends how they want to divide them up.
Yeah, that's interesting. Good choice. Thanks, Dwayne. Good choice. Yeah, we're talking about family law and love and marriage and the end of love and marriage. It's a, everything's got an arc, it seems, right?
Yep.
Fall in love, everything's great. It's funny, we talk about divorces and what people are doing. You think they would talk more about it before they got married than fighting about it after, but we'll get into that in a second. I want to introduce my guests on today's show. We're talking about the breakdown of relationships, and joining us to talk about family laws, David Halkett, partner at Macquarie Hunter in Surrey, and Sarah Morrison, associate there, and is that often the case? You find out that people really were not that compatible to start with and probably should have done a little bit more research beforehand?
Sometimes it can be, and thanks for having us in again, Zach. Yeah, they certainly can be. It can be a situation where I see them and it's like, how did you two ever get together?
Uh-huh. And do opposites attract?
No,
I don't think
it seems
so.
to me that they seem to be the same kind of person in most cases. But of course, I only see the bad ones that end. I don't see the people who were opposites who got together and stayed forever.
Hey, when you get to a cocktail party in your neighborhood and someone says you do family law, do they take you aside? Listen,
Yeah.
about the wife or the husband
Yeah.
over there. I got a few questions for you.
Well, it's interesting. Well,
or on the soccer field or something.
Well, yeah, we don't get invited to weddings because we're kind of the pariah. Right?
Yeah, you're bad luck.
Bit of a downer,
exactly.
yeah.
Well, my son's hockey team this year, we were going away, so I said, if any of you are just going one parent alone, or if you want me, I'll draft up the travel consent letter, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one of them said, "Oh, are you seeing if anyone wants to divorce? Who wants to divorce?" And half the team puts their hands up, right? It's a joke, right? So it's it's an interesting thing when one of the guys in our office was getting married. I said, "I hope you never have to come and talk to me,"
Mm-hmm.
that kind of stuff.
Or maybe
right?
you should talk to me now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Get everything papered.
Now, David, does it men want to speak to a man, and Sarah, do women want to speak to a woman? How does it work?
I don't think there's any predisposition that anyone has. Some women, I think, maybe feel a little more comfortable with a female lawyer. They're talking about certain things. But then some of them feel that they would rather have the guy going up against their ex,
right? Yeah.
if he tends to be someone who bullies women. But then
so if you've got somebody who's abusive, you want somebody that can take them on.
They might do that. But again, though, there may be some women who want a guy, some that want that. But there's also men who say, my wife's got a tigress for another lawyer, so I need a female lawyer who's one like them too.
It definitely depends on what type of lawyer. I mean, you do get people that say, "Are you a pit bull? I want a pit bull," and things like that. But my practice, I have had a huge focus on women who have come out of difficult circumstances, and they definitely do want a female, just because it is emotional, or they've dealt with abuse and things of that nature. But it completely depends on the circumstances. I have a lot of male clients as well, but I do have a large portion of women coming out of difficult circumstances, and they've indicated that that's why they picked me, was because of my background. And
all right, here's a 30,000-foot question. What's the number one reason for couples breaking up? Jeez. Is it money? Is it fooling around?
Well, I've over my years of experience, I've come up with like 4 reasons. They'll fight over children.
Mm-hmm.
Money's always an issue, whether you have too much and one's been spending too much, or you have too little and it's caused financial trouble. Obviously, there can be abuse issues. That obviously
is that a high percentage?
Probably more in terms of emotional. I don't know
I'd
that
agree
many
with
with
that, yeah.
physical, but a lot of emotional. And emotional abuse is very subjective, so it depends. Men will say, "I left because my wife had the affair." That's usually one, but I tie that all into the big sexual issues that people have.
It's not compatible.
Exactly. And some people, they get together when they're 20. By the time they're 35, they're completely different people.
Mm-hmm.
And so they just don't get along anymore.
And is that common? Marrying young leads to divorce?
So some of them I have. I've had some that came in to see me in their mid-30s, have been married from 21, had like 4 children. Mm-hmm. But then people get married, when they're 35, and then they're so set in their ways that they are knocking heads by the time they're 40. So
Yeah, I would say I see the exact same
probably all
trend,
comes
yeah.
down to lack of communication between the parties.
Now, when you graduated law school and you're out there in the world and you're thinking, I'm going to be, trial lawyer
Yep.
or something like that. So why family law for you, David?
For me, I was hoping you'd take Sarah on first. On that
Okay,
one.
all right,
Give you time to
Sarah.
think about
So,
it.
Sarah, why family law?
Actually, well, I
You
had.
see what he did there?
He did. This is how he operates. For me, I had done some corporate, and I was originally going to go into a corporate commercial, and I had done some employment and labor, and
There's so many avenues to law. Like, I mean,
There is.
it's so much stuff you
there's
could
probably
do.
tons of different areas that I may have enjoyed, but the part of the reason that I liked family law was you do get that client contact, and you do become sort of that person for your client that they rely on, and there's a very human aspect
Is
of
that a
it.
female nurturing role, do you think?
Perhaps, or maybe it's just part of who I am. I enjoy that. I studied psychology and criminology in university, and then obviously I've done the mediation training. I grew up in a divorce household. I've gone through this on my own, so for me, I do have a level of compassion. I understand what people are going through when they're talking about parenting arrangements and things like that. I've gone through my parents having a fairly acrimonious divorce to a certain degree as a child. So I've seen it on a number of different levels, and I like the human aspect of it. I like being able to talk to people about the changes in their life and helping them get through that to the other side. And I think that's a huge part of our job is, they're putting out a lot of money, a lot of emotion, going through one of the most difficult experiences in their lives, and getting them to a place where they're able to come back and say, thank you, you really helped me get through that, and I'm okay now.
Now, you got in this because you're a soft, touchy-feely guy, and you're really sensitive, and you
David,
really
how you
like
feel
to
about
help
that?
people.
No. Oddly enough, Zach, when I went to UBC,
Uh-huh.
and for both my history degree and then for law.
I think you need like a 98 to get into UBC these days, or something crazy like
Yeah,
that.
it wasn't at my time. That's
I don't think either of us would get in now.
You should. That was your opportunity. Said actually, I had 99, so
well,
it's not a problem
actually,
for me.
Well, I was going to say my LSAT was 98th percentile. I don't know how that happened, but whatever. When I was at UBC, basically it's more of a corporate kind of university because we were in a big city.
Sure.
So you were basically told, through subliminal messages that you want to be a corporate solicitor at one of the big downtown firms and work within four.
And that's
square
where all
blocks.
the recruiting came from.
Exactly. You want to be one of the, work within 4 square blocks of the Four Seasons, as one lawyer said, or else you failed as a lawyer in Vancouver. This is one guy was saying these things. So that's what I thought.
Are
I
they
wanted to be.
happy though?
Well, that's another issue, right?
Yeah.
My wife works at a larger firm, and she's had lawyers leave because they were never home. So it all evens
Then
out.
they come and see you because they're getting divorced because they were never home.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But I didn't want to do family law. I thought I'd be a corporate solicitor because I didn't think I could talk well enough in court, right? And once an article student, I got yelled at a couple times by judges for stuff I sent down. I thought that was really cool, and I found I could do it because he thought everyone would be Perry Mason or
In the movies.
Matlock or something
Yeah.
like that, right? I didn't want to do family law because in my day it was obviously more of a sexist situation, that it was called the pink ghetto, that women were just kind of funneled into family law. Men didn't go to family law. But, over time I started doing a bit in my first job at a law firm, and then another job I did a lot of it and found out I could do it. And I may have gone in for different reasons than Sarah, but we have the same experience in that it's real law insofar as it's down to earth kind of thing. It's not some corporate structure to get out of paying whatever. And
Taxes or something, right? Yeah.
this is real life emotions. We do the same things that corporate commercial guys do in terms of valuations of businesses, selling share transfers, but there's a level of emotional stuff on top of it that we deal with. And Sarah's right. When a client sends you an email after an examination that I was really afraid to go, but you really knew what you were doing and you made me feel secure while I was there, it makes it worthwhile in the end. And
I wasn't suggesting that you're not a nice soft
No,
guy.
no,
that
no,
you
no.
Can't hold someone's hand through this.
no, but I'll tell you though, Zach, that's something I had to learn over the time, because when I first started, it was like, well, that's all you're going to get. It doesn't matter all the other extraneous stuff. But now I've realized there's a story they have to be told that has to be told, and I have to listen to it and relay that story with managing their expectations that it may not have any issue. But stuff that happened 20 years in a relationship won't have a bearing on how the house is divided. But it's something they have to say.
So are you a bit of a lone wolf in this? Are there mostly women still that are
No,
in this?
No, definitely not.
it's probably still majority women do family law of the family law lawyers, but there's a large number of men now that do it, and we all have our own unique personalities, but we all know that that's why we get along well as family law lawyers together, in that we have a unique experience in law.
Yeah, it's probably the most hands-on with clients, isn't it?
It is.
Of any form of law.
It is, and unlike if you do insurance defense, say for example, you have one or two adjusters you deal with, one or two personalities. We may have 70 files, 70 different personalities, right, Sarah? Like there's times that what you can say to one, you can't say to another.
Yeah, you really have to learn how to mirror your clients. You have to handle their expectations, but you have to understand sort of their psychology and know how to work with each different client. Because one thing you say to one client, you would never, as David said, you would never be able to say that to another client. It
might
devastate
be more fragile, or it might be tougher. You never know, right?
And that's something you learn as you go. Like I've said comments when I was a younger lawyer that I thought there was absolutely nothing really innocuous, and I was told by someone else I work with, oh, well, they didn't appreciate what was said. It's like, well, I wish they'd told me at the time. I didn't mean it in a bad sense.
So you've learned through all those years.
Exactly. You learn over time.
All right. It's fascinating. I can totally see why every day is different, right?
It is. Every time our issues may be very similar, custody, division of assets, but every time we answer the phone, it's a different personality, different people that you have to deal with.
We're speaking with David Halkett, a partner at McQuarrie Hunter in Surrey, and Sarah Morse. We're talking about family law, and we're going to get into it a little bit more. When we come back, we're going to talk a little about what you should do when you come in to visit, what sort of list of things you should have. When we pick up the conversation next on The Law Show, here on CL 650.
There's more of the show still ahead. This is The Law Show on CL 650.